President Trump visiting Puerto Rico, and again, he managed to flare up a controversy, making a bad situation, unbelievably, even worse. And then the latest on the shootings in Las Vegas, including new details about the shooter and the guns that he used. Then, two members of Congress from our region who are fighting the fight when it comes to gun control. We will speak with New York's Sean Patrick Maloney and Connecticut's Elizabeth Esty. Good evening and welcome to RFL. I am Richard French, and we begin this evening in Puerto Rico. That's where President Trump visited today, the island, as it tries to recover from Hurricane Maria. But before he even left, he bragged about how well things are going down there and said the mayor of San Juan is fine now, even after he blasted her leadership with a series of vicious tweets. Here's the commander-in-chief before he took off.
Well, I think she's come back a long way, and, I think it's now acknowledged what a great job we've done, and people are looking at that. And in Texas and in Florida, we get an A+, and I'll tell you what, I think we've done just as good in Puerto Rico.
Those grades, by the way, apparently self-done. Again, the president, when he touched ground in Puerto Rico, he had the following to say.
Now, I hate to tell you, Puerto Rico, but you've thrown our budget a little out of whack, because we've spent a lot of money on Puerto Rico, and that's fine. We've saved a lot of lives. If you look at every death is a horror, but if you look at a real catastrophe like Katrina, and you look at the tremendous hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that died, and you look at what happened here with really a storm that was just totally overpowering. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. What is your death count as of this moment? 17?
16 certified.
16 people certified. 16 people versus in the thousands. You can be very proud of all of your people, all of our people working together. 16 versus literally thousands.
Nobody in Puerto Rico laughing about that joke the president threw out about the budget here and the implications that people of Puerto Rico have put him through since the storm came through their island. And his Katrina comparison also rubbing a lot of people the wrong way, not to mention the actual facts of it when it came to the number of people actually died there. This was far from the only time our president was insensitive, to say the least, to the 3.5 million Americans who are on the island of Puerto Rico. Again, let me remind you what he did on Friday.
We're closely coordinated with the territorial and local governments, which are totally and unfortunately unable to handle this catastrophic crisis on their own. The electrical grid and other infrastructure, we're already in very, very poor shape.
Did you catch that? In one sentence, he managed to criticize the island's readiness and its condition before the storm, but he didn't stop there. Again, he felt the need to mention the debt when it came to Puerto Rico.
Ultimately, the government of Puerto Rico will have to work with us to determine how this massive rebuilding effort will be funded and organized, and what we will do with the tremendous amount of existing debt already on the island.
Now, that was several days after he sent this tweet comparing Puerto Rico to Texas and to Florida. It's pretty clear he's not putting them on an even plane, but you judge for yourself. This again, right after Maria hit and devastated the island. Quote, Texas and Florida are doing great, but Puerto Rico, which was already suffering from broken infrastructure and massive debt, is in deep trouble. Its old electric grid, which was in terrible shape, devastated, much of the island destroyed, with billions of dollars owed to Wall Street and the banks, which sadly must be dealt with. Food, water, medical, top priorities, doing well. Well, joining me now, senior political correspondent Andrew Whitman. Let's leave for the moment the politics, the policy, the falsehoods. An island was literally reduced to rubble. People don't know where they're going to get water or food from. Forget electricity. 95% of the island still literally in the dark, cut off, as the president educated us island with big, big water. His words here around it.
Ocean water.
Ocean water, not just water, making it hard. And then today, he goes out there and he tells everybody, I'm getting an A+ for the job that we're doing. It's you people who made a mistake. And, you know, that was a real catastrophe, what we had in New Orleans, not what you have here.
Let's try to start simple and build from there. There are people who are dying on Puerto Rico tonight. There are people who are injured and can't get the medical supplies that they need. People who need dialysis, who don't have electricity. There are reports of bodies being taken to morgues that are already starting to decompose. There are parts of the island where they haven't done reporting yet to know what the damage is or to know how many people are dead or injured there because the internal systems on the island don't allow for the travel and can't get that reporting there. Rather than focusing on the suffering of the people of Puerto Rico and trying to minimize what suffering they're already facing, this president made this trip all about himself. It's all about response, it's all about public relations and public image, it's all about how he's perceived and how nice people are to him. If you remember the mayor of San Juan before he left, he said, well, she seems to have, had good things to say about me. That's all he seems to care about. He's the president of the United States. His first responsibility is for the life of the 320 million Americans, including the 3 million who live on Puerto Rico. His second priority is trying to save lives for people who are in distress right now. And this guy is all about himself. You know, we've asked as the storms hit this season whether this is going to be Trump's Katrina. Katrina is going to be George Bush's Puerto Rico nightmare. This is so much worse and so much more callous of this president.
And
no
to Andrew's
compassion.
point, we've seen pictures of San Juan. We have not seen, and nor did the president step foot outside of San Juan today. We did not see the mountainous regions of this country because they're cut off.
We've heard no indication that he flew by.
They don't know about the tweet storms.
We don't even know if he flew around the island today. We've had no indication that he did. Apparently, he just landed on the base, stayed there, and that's it.
But let's be clear. Andrew laid it out better than I could have. What is your job as commander-in-chief? It's to protect your citizens. By the way, your citizens include Puerto Ricans. If you didn't know any better and you were taking a civics test from what the president said, Texans, Floridians, they're Americans. Puerto Ricans, they're something else. They're the people with the debt and they're the people with the bad infrastructure. That's them. And they haven't done a really good job helping us out. Okay. Now, where was the preparation before Maria hit? Because everybody knew it had a bullseye on Puerto Rico. Must have missed that. More than a week later, I haven't seen the cavalry coming with the fleet. You have 9,000+ containers sitting there that can't get to the remote areas. How do you do that? You need ships. You need airlifts. You need an ability here from a positioning point. We're still not there yet. We did a much better job, so you know, in Haiti, when the Haitian crisis struck, even though they're not Americans, if that's the new standard, we did a far better job. And again, by the way, Haiti, island, water around it, okay? But now, the president has marginalized the problem. He said it's their fault. He's picked the boogeyman, which is the mayor of Puerto Rico, and of San Juan, and the governor of Puerto Rico. And he's managed to go to one face, throw out toilet paper and paper towels today after making jokes about, hey, you guys costing us a lot of money, even though they are Americans, and then he flew off on his merry way. He made criticisms from his golf course in New Jersey.
This is the
and
video,
this is the visuals
the video
today.
of him throwing out paper towels and toilet paper to the crowd like it's a T-shirt giveaway at a ballpark. First of all, I'm sure they appreciate paper towels and toilet paper, but food, medicine, electricity.
Again, no president, I don't care who it was, could have been Abe Lincoln, okay? No president could have prevented this island from being destroyed. But what a real president can do is, they can A, show compassion to the people, they can let the people know that we're going to be them for them. 3 million people. You can start evacuating women and children from that island tonight here, and the elderly. You have people with leukemia. There's no electricity to get treatment for it. You have people with major medical conditions where no electricity. People are going to die. The number that he gave it as a final tally. It will be a fraction of the final one. And I don't want to be right, but I am going to be, if anything, understating how bad this thing will get. I'm telling you, if he ever wanted to get free advice here, dial back the dialogue, stop telling everybody how great it is and how great you've been, and understand this story is going to get much, much worse.
I just want to make one last point. He talked about it's going to blow up our budget. It's going to, the budgeting for the whole thing. This is a president who just proposed a budget and a tax plan that will add to the debt by $1 trillion. Okay? This is about the choices that he's made, or in the case of Puerto Rico, the choices he has not made. This is not about anything else. He could choose to help these people if he wanted to. He could choose to make sure that the people of Puerto Rico get the same treatment and care and compassion that the people of New Orleans got after Katrina, or the people of Texas or Florida got. He just chooses not to. And he sells it as though he has no choice.
And to me, it's yet another example of us against them. Them, however, are us, and they are Puerto Ricans. All right, coming up next. New details on the deadliest mass shooting in American history. That as we learn more about the guns the shooter used and the investigation into a possible motive. Then, 2 members of Congress from our region who are taking on the White House and a lot in the GOP as they push for new gun control laws. We talked to Sean Patrick Maloney of New York and the congressman representing Newtown, Connecticut, Elizabeth Edson.